Hey guys, Cody Wilson for another TED Talk with Offensive Football Junkies. There was a discussion earlier this week about play caller versus coordinator, and there's a lot of discussion there. And some of the comments I had, Coach D'Amico thought it'd be a good idea if I talked about being an assistant coach and what a good one looks like. And the number one thing I would say is, firstly, you've got to recognize who the boss is, and that there's a lot that goes into being a head coach that we all think we know. And I've been there and I've done that. And, there have been times where I thought, well, that was a really dumb decision. Why are we doing that? Why did he handle discipline with this kid this way? Why are we running this scheme? Our scheme would be much better if we did another scheme with the players that we had, or whatever. How he handles parents, how he handles fundraising, schedule, practice plan, whatever, you name it. I've been the guy that's questioned it all before, and I've gotten better about it over the years, but I'm still not perfect. And I think all of us, or at least most of us, want to be that guy in charge one day. And think about when you're the guy in charge one day, how will you feel if you have all the plans, you've done all this research for years, you've been an assistant, writing down in a notebook how you want to do things one day, and you get that opportunity and you have guys working for you, and nobody will do it the way that you've planned out to do it. That everybody questions everything, that nobody wants to do it your way. It's a bunch of young bucks that all think their way is best and they don't really know anything yet, or a bunch of old stubborn guys that are stuck in their ways and they're like, well, I've done it this way for 25 years, I'm going to keep doing it that way. Pardon my language, but would it piss you off that your opportunity is now getting ruined because of a bunch of other people that will not submit to authority? And the answer is yes. Like, you will be ticked off that they won't do it your way. So you got to think about that first. Again, I think that most of us want to be that guy one day, and think about how you would feel if somebody were behaving like you were then. So your number one job as an assistant is to serve the head coach and to help him fulfill the vision for his team, for the program. So when you serve the head coach, I almost think like, on TV and stuff in movies, when you see people who, they're getting promoted to positions to government and stuff, and they say to the president, I serve at the pleasure of the president, or something like that. You serve at the pleasure of your head coach. And really you do. Like, he can ask you at any time to not coach anymore. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he can fire you from the school, but if you're a somebody that works off campus, then he can definitely do that. So serving at the pleasure of the head coach and helping him fulfill his vision means primarily that your opinions, not that they don't matter, but they are secondary to the head coach. So that means scheme, practice schedule, how to handle discipline, all those things are secondary to how the head coach would like to do them. Now, don't take that as saying, well, you have to be a yes man and you can never share your opinions. You definitely can, and you can make good arguments for your opinions on how things should be done. But when the head coach says no, no means no. He has the trump card, and what he says goes. It doesn't matter if there's a staff of 7 people, and everybody, all 6 of them except the head coach, all think that you should do something another way. If the head coach says no, that's it. End of the discussion. Now, what that brings up is the idea of loyalty. Coaches talk about being loyal all the time. And I think it's easy to say loyal, but what does it really look like to be loyal to your head coach? And this is a tough one. And my wife would tell you that after having married a coach, and this is telling on myself a little bit, that coaches, we are some of the worst gossips on the planet, at least in my experience, and I'm guilty of that in some scenarios. But you don't need to go and gripe and complain and tell everybody's business outside of the program, especially the head coach. Like, let it be what it's going to be. When he does something you don't like, oh well, suck it up, buttercup. Come home if you want to complain to your wife or whoever at home, you can do that, but you need to try to keep things in-house as much as possible. So don't go complain to other teachers or coaches of other sports that don't have anything to do with it. Definitely don't complain to administration or parents. And here's the big one that we probably don't realize is a big deal. But for example, like with why we do things the way we do with scheme or practice plan, do not, because this is probably the most dangerous thing you can do. Do not say, well, we're doing it this way because the head coach said to do it this way. And then the kids really know that you don't want to do it that way and you don't believe in it. You have to fake it till you make it. If you want to disagree with the head coach and complain about it every day, it's not going to be a good work environment, but you can do that. But when you're meeting with the kids, when you see them in the hallway, when you're on the practice field doing drills, even if you hate it and think it's the dumbest thing ever, if your head coach is telling you, for example, as me being an offensive line coach, that we need to get in a 4-point stance, even though we're an air raid team, with all our weight on our hands, and we need to try to cut block everybody, okay? Like, even if that's what he thinks and it's a terrible idea, well, yes, this is the way we're going to do it, guys. We're going to do it, and it's going to be great for this reason, and this reason, and we're going to be great at it. Now, come on, let's go. Let's buy into doing this. That's how you need to be about all of it. Not just particular in that scheme, but any of it that you do, you need to be that way about it, being loyal. Now, this is something that I had mentioned in that post, is when you do that, you need to think about this also. Like, if you're looking at that and you're thinking, well, coach, that seems really hard to do, and I'm too smart for that. Like, why would I do something that I know is not going to work? You need to think about the message that you give your team. And I think most of us would give our team this kind of message, is that there's no I in team. It's not about the individual. It's about you sacrificing to help the team. I'm sure most of y'all have had to play kids at positions that they didn't want to play, and you had to convince them that, okay, you might really be a really good fullback. But here on this team and the talent that we have, you will best serve our team by being a pulling guard. Okay, well, he might hate that. Your player might hate doing that, might think they're above that, but you're asking them to do that and to sacrifice for the betterment of the team. Okay, and it may be a different situation, but I think we've all pushed team before self and all that, and that we're all one, and we need to get rid of that selfish mentality. Well, how can you expect your team to have that kind of attitude and buy in like that if you as a coach cannot model that? If you're being asked to do something you don't want to do for the betterment of the team, it's going to be obvious. Like, kids can see straight through us. Do you really think it's that they're going to be buffaloed by you, saying one thing but really feeling another? Like, you've got to try really hard at doing that. And do you think that they're going to buy into the team if you can't buy into the team as one of the leaders on the team? Like it or not, you're a coach. I don't care if you're the assistant punter coach. Like, you were part of the leadership of the team and somebody that they look at all the time. So you've got to be able to model that and be selfless as a coach. And again, I think those things all kind of tie together about, it's most important to serve the head coach, to think about, what kind of assistance you would want when you're a head coach one day, and to be that kind of assistant. to do everything the head coach asks you to do. Even if you don't agree with it, you can go ahead and you can argue, you can make your case, but at the end of the day, he gets the trump card, and you need to do that. And that doesn't matter if it's scheme, what position you coach, how to call plays, how to set up the practice script, any of those things. Like, he is the boss. And to be loyal to the head coach, and what that looks like as a coach, and what it looks like from a player's standpoint when we're trying to encourage them to be selfless as well. And there's probably a whole lot of other places we can go with that, but I think those things are really at the core of what it's like to be a good assistant coach. And you know, we can build on, well, you need to go to clinics, you need to learn, you need to, you know, hone your craft at your position level, and all that kind of goes more into X's and O's, I think. But those things are true about being an assistant coach. But I think a lot of people miss this, and I definitely did. As a young coach, I thought, because I played college football at a Division III school, not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I was working on my first high school staff, and nobody on that staff had played college football. All of them had been just your average high school players, and some of them had not even really been coaching that long, maybe 2 or 3 years more than me, and stuff. And I thought, well, I know better. I got all this college experience. I played and I coached college ball for a couple of years. I'm smart. I'm hot shit. I know everything. I think I'm deserving to be a play caller or to be a head coach, and like fast tracking the rest of y'all are dumb idiots. Like, I've been there, and it sounds terrible, but that's the truth of excuse me, of where I was. So I've been the bad assistant coach before. I really have. And it's taken some time to learn and to see what all the other crap is that the head coach deals with, and how being a poor assistant coach impacts his job and his vision for the team, and how the team can perform. So anyway, I know there's probably a lot more we can do with that, but that's some food for thought. If you have any more questions or comments about that, I would love to talk to you about it. I can tell you more about experiences where I have been both a poor and a good assistant coach, but I really think this is important that we all learn that. I think programs would be better across the country if we can all really serve at the pleasure of the head coach, and for us to be for us to take ourselves off the front burner and take a back seat and serve somebody else, no matter what our own opinions are. But anyway, I love Offensive Football Junkies. It's a great group, and I'll also make this plug. I know Coach pushes it every once in a while, but to join and be a part of the mentor program. I joined yesterday as a mentor, and within a couple of hours, there was somebody that, a mentee that wanted some help, and I really think, you know, I don't know this, and nobody told me to say this, but I think that part of this group is probably underutilized, and I think it would be great for us to do that. And no matter where you are, I think you can both mentor somebody and be mentored by somebody else, just like we all can in our personal lives. I think that can be true in our professional lives as well. Even if you've been coaching for 35 years and been a head coach for 20 of them, I think you can learn something from somebody in this group, because there's so many great people in it. But again, I'm just a simple redneck here with a little football experience, and that's my 2 cents.